A categorical UDF can be used to compound several questions to create custom categories. To create a categorical UDF, select Create New Expression Category Field button in the UDF home screen. This will take you to the Create Edit Categorical Field screen. In this screen, enter the name of the categorical UDF. As well as a description. The type is by default set to categorical, so that can be left unchanged. Select Save and Continue to go to the next screen. The Add Question screen should be a familiar sight. Select and add the questions whose values you would like to use to define each category. One aspect that is different from adding questions to reports is that here you will need to select the distinct sets of values that you need to define your categorical field. In our example, we are trying to group patients by their gender and whether if their primary disease is acute leukemia. Since it is safe to assume that the patient is either male or female, we can pick either male or female value for the question sex. For the primary disease, the only value we are interested in is the acute leukemia. Note that there is a letter designation for each question value combination that you pick. We will be manipulating these variables to define our categories in the next screen. Select Save and Continue. In the Add Categories page, the different combinations of question and value, along with their letter designations, are listed under Select a Field List. The text boxes under Categories are where we define our categories. First, we should name our categories. In our example, I want to use this UDF to group patients into 4 distinct groups. Female with acute leukemia, female without acute leukemia, male with acute leukemia, and male without acute leukemia. I would recommend entering the names of all your categories first before you start defining them, so the names can act as guidelines. For a patient record to be labeled female with acute leukemia, it must have a primary disease value of acute leukemia, which corresponds to A, and a sex value of female, which corresponds to B. So our expression used to define this category should be A and B. For a patient record to be labeled female without acute leukemia, it must not have a primary disease value of acute leukemia, which corresponds to not A, and a sex value of female, which corresponds to B. So our expression used to define this category should be not A and B. We use parentheses around not A to evaluate this as a single variable. For a patient record to be labeled male with acute leukemia, it must have a primary disease value of acute leukemia, which corresponds to A, and a sex value of male, which corresponds to not B. So our expression used to define this category should be A and not B. For a patient record to be labeled male without acute leukemia, it must not have a primary disease value of acute leukemia, which corresponds to not A, and a sex value of male, which corresponds to not B. So our expression used to define this category should be not A and not B. If you need to add additional categories, you can use the Add button to add new rows. After we have finished defining all the categories, select Save and Finish to save our UDF categorical field.